The postbellum period saw many changes economically, culturally, and even in the physical landscape of the country. The late 19th century is known as the Gilded Age, which lasted roughly 1870 to 1900, and it was marked by an elite few who had leveraged opportunities in the marketplace to build wealth that had never before been seen. These few, with names still recognized today, are household names. Sometimes they're known as the robber barons, and one such man was Andrew Carnegie. Samuel Bostow's biography of Andrew Carnegie describes his growing up years as having been born to a poor family. By his teenage years, he was supporting his family, making roughly $4 a week. Eventually, Carnegie would be known for making his money in the steel industry, however, getting there involved his work with the Pennsylvania Railroad. Carnegie earned the trust of his managers, and because of that, began to meet more influential people. He ended up hiring family and friends to work for him at the railroad in his management position while he began to educate himself by way of books and tutoring so as to better fit into the higher society in which he found himself. Once the Civil War ended, Carnegie had been investing in stocks, and since that was much more of an interest to him than his hard work at the railroad, he resigned to continue his interest in investing. Starting his own company, Carnegie took advantage of his location, prior experience with the railways, and also the new tariffs passed right after the Civil War to begin his adventure into steel production. He built his business while partnering with several other businesses at the time building bridges. However, his location near a coal mine and access to iron ore in Michigan allowed him to create his own steel plants using the Bessemer process, which is a new advancement to allow for better steel production. He surrounded himself with the best people, hiring those like Alexander Hawley, who designed Bessemer converters. He'd worked on several major projects. He put him in charge of a plant. And then he also hired Charles M. Schwab, who would supervise another plant and later earn his wealth through steel manufacturing. Carnegie found himself in the midst of the 1870s recession, in which his company fared well due to his expert guidance. He was able to buy out a few of his investors, in which his company, um, when his company or when they experienced hardship as a result of the recession. He, unlike other companies, found an opportunity by building when the costs were low. Carnegie was most concerned and understood the operational costs were more important in savings than construction costs, and when Schwab supervised a plant build, found that he could have saved more money by building it a different way, he told Carnegie, who responded that he should tear it down and rebuild it, citing that operational cost savings were more important and that it would end up paying for itself. Carnegie would dominate the steel industry into the 1900s and began his philanthropic work as he had promised himself he would as he began to make his money. Carnegie's business success came from a business model called horizontal integration and then another one called vertical integration. They're the first as evidence in his successes throughout the postbellum period. He would buy other companies, swallowing them into his larger company, thereby reducing competition. And then for vertical integration, he would buy raw material sources, house them under one roof, all the while building profits to be used when the time might call for strategic spending, much like he did during the recession of 1870. He used technological innovation to his advantage and anticipated how he could use the new technology to turn a profit. Perhaps this acceptance and use of new technology came from watching his father lose his livelihood and ability to support his family when his loom business was no longer viable in the marketplace due to the mechanization of the weaving industry. Carnegie adapted to the changes of the period, but that would never have been enough to make him the titan of industry that he became. The entrepreneurial spirit he possessed gave him the ability to anticipate what would be needed as times changed and how he could provide and sell his need to others. He harnessed his ingenuity to take advantage of an unregulated market that placed tariffs on other countries, financially encouraging domestic production. Carnegie saw his opportunity and he took it. One last note, he was known as a philanthropist. The sources that I've found all spoke of Carnegie as one who wanted to give back once he had made his money. This was not unheard of in at that time. A lot of the titans of industry would also create foundations and give away a lot of their money kind of was one of their markings. So they may have been known a little bit derogatory as the robber barons, but many did create those foundations and gave away their wealth for educational and cultural advancements. And those are some of which we still take advantage of today. Thanks.